I'm Kevin Power, and this is SaskScapes, the podcast featuring stories of arts, culture, and heritage in Saskatchewan. This episode of SaskScapes is sponsored by the Saskatchewan German Council. The Saskatchewan German Council is a provincial nonprofit umbrella organization to nearly 40 member groups, representing all people of German-speaking backgrounds. By engaging people of all ages to become active and involved partners in a vibrant multicultural community, the Saskatchewan German Council is committed to the preservation and promotion of the German language, traditions, and culture for all people of Saskatchewan. You'll find the link to their website in the show notes. This is the series of special SaskScapes podcast presents entitled German Culture Alive, all sponsored by the Saskatchewan German Council. You can hear the others in this series by listening to them on your favorite podcasting app or streaming on the SaskScapes website. Welcome to Season 10 of SaskScapes. Yes, that's 10 years of telling Saskatchewan stories. So tell me, are you a fan of those reality show cooking competitions, or perhaps the television series The Bear? Well, guess what? This episode isn't that. But it does feature a kitchen and a group of people who love to cook. And it's the opposite of a competition. It's a place where friends gather and, under the guidance of a mentor and avid chef, are taken on a journey of German cuisine. Kochlöffel Nudelholz has been a part of Saskatoon's food landscape for over 2 decades. Simply put, it's monthly cooking classes, and you are welcome to attend. You'll find out how to participate in the show notes. But for this episode, I'm joined by the group's culinary mentor, Franziska Davies-Perret, to get some background of when this group began and where they are now. And after a conversation, we head into the kitchen to join this evening's class in progress. There are 3 items on the menu, guaranteed to have you drooling. And listeners, if there was technology that allowed scratch and sniff podcasts to exist, this would be an ideal time to introduce it to you. But that's not a thing, so you'll have to trust me when I say the smells in that kitchen were amazing. Now, recording in a kitchen is a challenge, so you'll hear a lot of gadgets blending and chopping and sizzling, and, well, it's all part of the experience. I'll do my best to guide you on the journey, if only in your mind. But hey, this experience does not have to remain in your mind if you are in Saskatoon, so why not flex your culinary muscles and sign up for a class or 2, or 3, or more. Kochlöffel Nudelholz would not exist were it not for the financial support of the SGC, the Saskatchewan German Council, and SaskCulture. So let's raise a wooden spoon or a rolling pin in thanks. Enjoy the episode. So it's so exciting. Tonight is the night we're hitting the kitchen. And before we do, I thought I'd steal a little bit of time with master chef and cooking instructor, Franziska Davies. Now, do you say Perret, the French pronunciation?
You know what? I would love to, but everybody here says Perret.
I know. I can't bring myself to say it. I'm sorry. So it's Franziska Davies-Perret, as far as I'm concerned.
Very nice.
So we had a chance to talk a couple of weeks ago, but share with me a little bit of your journey as to how you got to Saskatchewan.
Okay. Well, it starts in Kingston, Ontario. That's where I was born.
Okay.
My dad was in the military, so after I was born, he was stationed back to Germany. I grew up there, had my childhood there, and then my mom and I moved to England. That's where I started learning English. From there, it was to California. I did my high school there. And then I thought, oh, let's move across the country. And I started university in Nova Scotia at Acadia. And that brought me finally to Saskatoon, where my dad is. And I met my husband here. Now we have a house, dogs. So I guess I'm kind of stuck here now.
Well, that's a good place to get stuck, but a very interesting route. And I'm pleased to hear that you had a chance to spend some time in my home province of Nova Scotia.
Yes.
It's a beautiful place.
It is very gorgeous.
So was German then your first language before English?
Yes, it was. I started with German, then it was French, and then English. Somewhere in between, I also did some Italian, and in California, it was a bit of Spanish.
Wow. So one would then want to draw the conclusion that you are a linguist or a translator, but you are not.
No, I'm not. I actually work in the accounting field now, which is very opposite of what my degree in linguistics and languages is in.
Right. Completely different kind of language, the language of numbers, one that I'm dreadful at. It takes all my concentration just to add 1 + 1, and I'm not kidding. Now, through this whole journey, where did you get introduced to cooking?
That probably started with my Oma when she would babysit me when my parents were at work. She had this little kitchen and she would make us lunch. And I think those were kind of my first memories of kind of being introduced to the love of cooking and baking.
Right. And was that introduction, was that featured any German dishes, traditional dishes?
Yes, very regional dishes that my Oma would make.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites is Klößchensuppe, and it's a bone marrow dumpling soup. And I always go back to that when I'm sick. However, here you actually have to make the dumplings, whereas in Germany you can buy them. So it's always a bit of a process making these bone marrow dumplings for the soup here.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong. Is it true that the German word for dumpling is Knödel?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so I know this. The only reason why I know this, because I'm not fluent at all in German, the only reason why I know this is as a singer, getting trained with one of my teachers. I used to have, my voice was placed very, very far back in my throat, so it sounded like Kermit the Frog. Oh. And she said, we call that a knoodle in your throat. And I said, what? And she said, it's like you have a dumpling in your throat. And that is the only reason why I know the dumpling is a knoodle. Bizarre. So how often do you go back to Germany?
My husband and I try to make it every year because my mom and Oma are still there and a few distant relatives. But during COVID, that kind of threw a wrench in those plans. And then ticket prices have also gone up a little bit. So we try to go at least, I want to say once every 2 years now, just to visit and enjoy the food.
Yeah, speaking of the food there, do you find that there is a distinct difference in the taste and the ingredients in the food there? Are German ingredients, do they tend to be of a different quality than you would find here? Hey, it's Kevin. I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Just a quick reminder that the SaskScapes podcast is available for free on your favorite podcast app, or you can stream it from your browser. Check out the show notes for the link. On the SaskScapes homepage, you'll notice something new under the logo called SaskScapes Plus. You can't miss it. There's a big button saying support with a heart icon next to it. I'd love it if you could click on that button and help keep this podcast series going. When SaskScapes launched in May 2014, it was the first podcast in the province celebrating arts, culture, and heritage. In fact, you'd have been pretty hard-pressed to find any Saskatchewan podcasts. So I'd like to think that we paved the way. It's been because of your support that this podcast is now in its 9th year. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
For sure. The biggest examples that I usually find is strawberries, potatoes, and the butter. I'm always talking about the butter in my cooking classes because I'm not sure what it is, but the butter in Germany, you can cream it a lot easier than you can here. Here it's very, I don't know, what's the word? Like
solid.
chunky.
Yeah.
The texture. And so here, when I'm beating my butter, I really have to give it a good go. Whereas in Germany, it's a lot easier to get a creamier consistency.
Right. I wonder why the difference in taste and produce. Is it the soil, perhaps?
Could be, or the variation of the fruit. I'm not quite sure.
Can you find more organic? Can you find more organic produce there than here?
Yes, yeah. The entire organic kind of movement is very popular in Germany, and they push it a lot to live a healthier lifestyle.
Right. Okay, so the reason why we are here and what is happening tonight is that you are teaching cooking lessons for a group called, I've been practicing, Kochlöffel Nudelholz.
Very nice. Good German.
And looking that up because I had to, that is wooden spoon and rolling pin?
Yes, that's right. So this group was started by German immigrant ladies, I want to say about maybe 13 years ago. And that's the name that they chose. And I've kept it when I took over from them.
So how long have you been whipping up a storm with students in the kitchen?
I took over in 2014. Yeah, so I've been doing this, I guess, 10 years now.
Excluding the COVID years, which I'm sure meant it didn't happen at all, or did you do it online?
During COVID, because I was adamant in still having a community and making sure nobody got lost in kind of the COVID delirium, I started a YouTube channel and also baking boxes so that my participants could still kind of bake or cook during COVID when you kind of had to keep your own bubble.
Oh, great. And those YouTube videos are still available, yeah?
Yes, yeah. And I still post, not as much recently, but I try to keep it up to date.
Oh, good. I'll include those links in the show notes so people can see what it is that you do. So for this evening, I mean, you have to make a decision every class what the menu is going to be. Yeah. So do they tend to be centered around a kind of theme?
I try to go with the season. And for the fall, I tend to stick with more hearty recipes like a soup or tonight's red cabbage tart, things like that.
So, and you're meeting once a month, yeah?
Yes, from September to May. If there's enough interest, then sometimes I have 2 classes a month.
Right.
And yeah, I kind of go from there.
And classes range in numbers around 7, 8?
Yeah, 7, 8. If they're really popular, I try to squeeze in 10. But the kitchen that we're using right now is a little on the small side, so I kind of have to watch the numbers.
Right. We should mention where your classes are being held in Saskatoon.
Right. They're at a church kitchen in the Massey neighborhood. That's actually where, once upon a time, the cooking group started. That's their origin kitchen, I guess.
Oh, so you've come full circle.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, it's not a huge kitchen that we're looking at here, so everybody's crammed in pretty tightly. So, what does a typical class look like? Do you do the instruction and they watch, or do you supervise and they do the cooking?
Well, we start with the recipe. We kind of go through it together. If there's any questions, I try to explain as best as possible. And then usually I let them free, and I'm there as kind of a supervisor. And if they have any questions during the baking or the cooking, I'm there to help out.
So, who are the people that come to this? Are there regulars? Have you had any interesting stories of people that have shown up for a special occasion? Anything like that?
I have a good variety of people, anything from high school students to grandmas and grandpas, pretty much everything in between. I have people that have German heritage. There's been a few multicultural nights. I'd also like to point out that I had one class where only men showed up, which I found great.
Was that a coincidence?
Yes, just a random coincidence, and I thought it was fantastic.
Gee, I wonder, have you ever considered doing theme night, like an all men's night or an all singles night or an all date night?
I haven't thought about it, but it's a good idea. Before COVID, while we were still at the German club, I had a medieval night, and that was very popular.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Yes, yeah. So we made recipes that were hundreds of years old, and they were actually quite tasty too.
Did you have grog? Why do I always associate grog with medieval times?
That we didn't, but
something mulled.
I can't. You know what? I can't remember if we had drinks that night, but it was. I want to say maybe like an appetizer and a couple of main dishes.
And these are students that would range in being proficient in the kitchen to, could you tell me the difference between a wooden spoon and a rolling pin experience?
I would say almost everybody has some knowledge of being in the kitchen. Some are more proficient than others, but that's okay. We welcome everybody in our classes. So.
Well, when you watch cooking shows on TV, and maybe that's true for your YouTube videos, everything looks like it just all worked together very, very quickly, and the kitchen always looked tidy. But in reality, that's not always the case. Have you had any absolute disasters with one of your recipes where it just didn't work out for the students?
Come to think of it, I think we had a knödel night, and the knödels didn't want to stick together.
Oh.
When we were boiling them. So we kind of pivoted a little bit, and instead of boiling them, we baked them. So we saved the day by baking them.
Oh, nice. So now, you're there. So if you can see anything going awry, I guess you're always there to say, hold on. Have you had any mishaps with the wrong ingredients going in things?
We've had salt instead of sugar.
Oh.
We've had powdered sugar instead of flour. But in most cases, like you said, I step in and kind of correct everybody, or try to help out and steer them in the right direction.
Right. So once you decide what the dishes are there usually 3 dishes like there will be tonight?
Yes. Yeah. Usually I do kind of a main dish, like a soup, like we're doing tonight, and then a tart that kind of go together, and then a dessert. In the colder months, sometimes I throw in a recipe for some kind of hot drink, like a tea punch or something like that. Or for Christmas, a glühwein.
Right. Good old glühwein. That will be December's class.
Yes. Yeah. That's right.
That's exciting. Well, it's chilly out now and snow is on its way, so it's perfect soup weather. What's the soup that they will be preparing?
We're doing a Swiss cheese soup, a Schweizer Käsesuppe, and it's pretty straightforward. I think it'll be tasty, and it'll go down well, especially in the cold evening.
At least you're hoping it will be tasty.
Yes,
If
yes.
all works out well. And then you mentioned there's a red cabbage tart.
Yes, a red cabbage tart. Um, I came across this recipe in the summer, and I felt like the summer wasn't the right time to do this tart. So I
Right.
decided November would be a good month for this.
It sounds delicious being a red cabbage fan myself.
Well, I'm glad you are because I have to say I'm allergic to red cabbage.
Oh no. Will you be able
So
to be in the kitchen when it's opened or shredded or whatever
yes,
they're doing?
yes, yeah, I can be. I just can't touch it or eat it. But
Right.
I feel like I'm a bad German for being allergic to red cabbage.
Oh, that's okay. There's lots of Canadians that are allergic to typical Canadian dishes, I'm sure. So you're not alone in that. And then there's a dessert. Yeah.
Yes, for dessert we had or we're having a banana casserole. Um,
Huh.
Sometimes it's hard to translate the recipe names into English, but
Is it
I
like a
think, yeah,
souffle or a pudding or?
yeah, I would say more souffle like,
Hmm.
since we're going to whip up the egg whites and kind of add other ingredients to it.
And in German, it would be called.
Bananenauflauf. An Auflauf, I've looked it up.
Yes.
The closest that I can get to is a casserole type of
Oh, right.
dish. So,
Right. But one
yeah,
tends to associate casserole with being something savory.
that's right. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
sometimes things just don't translate.
Mhm.
Is that a dessert that would be, could you find that kind of a dessert when dining out in Germany?
Mm, not so much. It would be more something that you would find at home or make at home. And then in general, when I look at recipes for the cooking classes, I tend to stay away from the more stereotypical German recipes or Swiss or Austrian, because I want to showcase what all three countries have to offer. I know Spätzle and Bratwurst, they have their space in German cuisine, but there's so much more to offer. So I try to pick recipes that maybe are a bit unusual or unheard of.
Do you find that there are any crossover dishes between German culture and Ukrainian culture here in Saskatchewan?
Um,
Similar
hmm,
but different names, maybe?
yeah, similar. I want to say similar, yeah, but maybe yeah, different names or different shapes.
Hmm.
Um, there's pierogies, and then the German version of that, I guess, would be Maultaschen. So it's a stuffed dumpling as well.
Right. Hmm. As far as German restaurants go in Saskatchewan, do we have any?
Um, well, there's the Regina German Club. They have
That's
a
right, of
restaurant.
course. And we
And
would have
then,
had one when we had the Concordia Club here in
yes,
Saskatoon,
yeah,
right?
that's right. There's, I believe, a German bakery in Waldheim, I want to
Mm.
say. And I know you can get pretzels here in Saskatoon from the Night Oven Bakery on Thursdays.
Right. So they are an authentic German thing, huh? I always just associate
Pretzels?
them as just, yeah,
Yes, yeah, very German.
right. So you have to go and, I mean, you came schlepping in all these ingredients, so you have to go grocery shopping for all of this stuff first.
Yes, yeah. The weekend before, I write up my list, go grocery shopping. Usually, my husband comes with me just to help me because there's so much stuff that I need.
Right.
And yeah, and
And,
then I bring everything to the cooking class.
and you roll your eyes and just don't even bother looking at the prices anymore because it's just hopeless, right?
Yes, it's sometimes tough with the grocery prices, and this year I've tried to introduce more vegetarian nights as well, just to
Right.
kind of work on the cost a little bit, because I can't afford to, which I have done, spend $120 on 24 pieces of meat for a rouladen night.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a bit rich.
Yes, yeah. So I kind of have to balance it out.
Now, this group has been and is funded by the Saskatchewan German Council, thanks to the Saskatchewan Lotteries Trust Fund for Sport, Culture, and Recreation. So you're not pulling out your own dollars and buying all these ingredients yourself.
No, I am funded in portion by the groups that you just mentioned, and also the fees that participants pay to attend the night.
Right. So let's talk about that. The fees is it expensive to come and attend an evening?
It's $35.
Oh, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. What you get is kind of the cooking portion of the night. Then we usually sit down together, eat together, share stories. And then everybody gets to take home another meal. So you get entertainment and 2 meals out of the day.
Well, $35 would barely get you an entire meal in a restaurant these days. So that's a pretty good bargain.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Right. So next month, you meet on December the 9th. Is that right? It's always a Monday, yeah?
Yes, it's always a Monday at 6:00, usually until 9. And for Christmas, we're doing Christmas presents from the kitchen. And it'll include chocolates and cookies.
That they'll be making?
Yes, and taking home.
Well, chocolates will be interesting, especially if they're melting chocolate. That can be a real challenge.
Mm-hmm. I've picked recipes that are beginner friendly.
Right.
To kind of mitigate that, because I know chocolate can be a little temperamental.
Are your classes usually booked up in advance quite quickly? Are there spaces for the December 9th class?
Usually they fill up as soon as I send out the information, but for the December class, I still have a couple of spots available.
Are there regulars that come so that they're all pretty much pals by now?
Yeah, I have a good group that come or try to come every time I have a class. Some of these guys have been with me, I want to say, since before COVID. And I've also made friendships with some of the participants that come. So it's kind of a nice little group community that I have there that we foster together.
That's so exciting. And it's great to just know that you can get away from technology for the entire evening and all the distractions and just do something that's really focused and creative and fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you meet new people and nobody bites. So they end up being friends by the end of the night.
Has anybody gone home missing any fingers from bad knife skills?
Not that I've noticed.
What's the worst knife skill you've witnessed?
That was probably somebody holding a cucumber in front of their face and then cutting the cucumber towards themselves.
In the air?
Yes, in the air. Yeah, it was shocking at first, and now I kind of have to chuckle about it.
What an odd thing to do. I mean, isn't the instinct even if you're bad at cutting stuff, to have a surface in the air? That is bizarre.
Yeah, you would think that you would, put something down on a chopping board and go from there. But that was also one of the reasons why I made my classes a little smaller, just so I could pay more attention and focus on everybody and what they're doing.
You always have a first aid kit around, or at least a few Band-Aids.
Yes, I always bring a first aid.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Yep, just in case.
That's great. Oh, well, that's hysterical. I was kind of half joking, but it makes total sense that you would.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So do you ever, I always ask people this that do a lot of cooking, are there ever nights where you just say to yourself, I just don't want to see the inside of a kitchen. I don't want to cook.
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
All the time.
I didn't
expect all the time.
Yeah. I go through my phases where I love being in the kitchen and kind of, I don't know, working away at a recipe or testing out a recipe. And then other nights, I tell my husband that I can't. You have to take over, or we order in something.
Now, can he actually cook, or do you smile and grin and bear it?
No, he's great. He's gotten better since we've been together. And I appreciate that he likes being in the kitchen too and trying out new things. He's great, weirdly enough, at making meringue. And I'm not good at making meringue at all.
Isn't that bizarre? One of the most challenging things to do, and he can do it really well. That's great.
Yeah. And he's great with bread recipes as well. He makes loaves of bread for us and pretzels.
By hand?
Yep.
Impressive.
Yeah. So I'm pretty lucky there.
My hope is that, you and I talking and then everybody listening to all the clanging and banging in the kitchen will inspire them to get in touch with you. I'll make sure that the link is in the show notes and they can contact you directly through the website. I presume there's a link to an email address or something.
Yes, yeah. On the Saskatchewan German Council's website, you can find kind of a description of my group and then also the contact information.
Okay, great. I'll make sure that link is in the show notes. Well, it's very exciting. They're going to be arriving very soon. You're spreading out all of the ingredients and you'll go through the menu with everybody. They don't know what they're cooking yet, yeah?
They usually do or have some idea of what they're making for the night. And then they get more details when we get together, like tonight.
And then the question will be, will there be a wooden spoon and a rolling pin featured in tonight's recipes? I'm guessing probably yes, but it's not mandatory that you have either one. Your mandate is not to uphold the name of the group and always make sure that whatever you're making contains those two utensils.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, they might show up somewhere in the recipe or they might not.
It's very exciting. I'm hoping that there are no absolute disasters. I'll look forward to roaming around and doing exactly what one doesn't want to have done in the kitchen, being distracted by someone hovering over them. But I'll try to be as invisible as possible and see how things go. And fingers crossed that everything works out well and it's a feast to behold at the end of the evening.
That's right. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in my group tonight, so I don't foresee any problems.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for taking a little bit of time with me in a quiet space before everything breaks loose. So onward we go to the kitchen, I say. But before we head into the kitchen, a brief word from the Saskatchewan German Council's Executive Director.
Hallo, hier ist Gabriele Weidelich-Harrison, die Geschäftsführerin des Saskatchewan German Council, SGC. Ich hoffe, euch gefällt diese Podcast-Folge. Das SGC ist eine gemeinnützige Dachorganisation mit über 30 Mitgliedsgruppen, die unsere deutsche Kultur in Saskatchewan feiert und lebendig erhält. Wir setzen uns für die Bewahrung und Förderung der deutschen Kultur, Sprache und Bräuche für alle interessierten Menschen in Saskatchewan ein, indem wir durch kulturelle Angebote Menschen jeden Alters dazu bewegen, aktive und engagierte Partner in einer lebendigen, multikulturellen Gemeinschaft unserer Provinz zu werden. Wir sind stolz darauf, im Rahmen des SaskScapes Podcasts eine Reihe von Episoden mit dem Titel German Culture Alive zu sponsern. Und nun zurück zum Podcast. Viel Spaß!
Remind me what the first two recipes are.
It's a red cabbage tart.
Yes.
And then the muapteig is kind of the pastry crust that we'll be using to make the tart.
Great. It's a savory crust?
Yes, savory, yeah. Good. And then we have a Swiss cheese soup. I listed here Emmentaler as the cheese. The original recipe calls for a Bergkäse, which literally translates to mountain cheese. So something like the Emmentaler. You could use Swiss, really any cheese that you like. I know cheese is expensive, so whatever you want to use, up to you. We have this cheese. It is a Jarlsberg, it's called. Not sure where it's from, but it's delicious. I like eating it. Oh, product of Ireland. Okay, so we're multicultural tonight. Okay, Swiss cheese soup, dried parsley, vegetable broth, nutmeg. I have dried parsley instead of the fresh, but you can use fresh. And the hand mixer's there for you to puree it. Pretty straightforward. You'll have to grate the cheese. Any questions on this one?
How do you pronounce that word?
Which one?
Schweizer?
Schweizer. Yeah, and that's Swiss in German. And then Käsesuppe is cheese soup. Good. Last recipe is your banana souffle-ish item. It uses Greek yogurt, but the original recipe uses kvark, which is a kind of like cottage cheese, but not.
Oh. We call it quark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. You can still buy that.
Yes, I found it at Walmart.
Oh.
In maybe like this size container for I think $3. A couple years ago, they had it at Superstore, 500 grams for $13. So the price has come down. Very nice. You can also make kvark on your own if you're using buttermilk. That's cheaper as well. Okay, I think that's it. And an odd or not a regular ingredient is the spelt flour for that. But I think that's about it. Any questions on the recipes?
Can you substitute white flour for spelt?
Yeah, you could. It's kind of a taste,
Right.
more of a taste item than really anything else.
There's a lot of resting in some of the recipes, so like you have to pour the milk over the bread in the cheese soup recipe and let it sit for an hour. You need to mix the tart stuff and place it in the fridge for 30 minutes. I'm just thinking through what you think we should start with.
Yes, good question. You want to start with the pastry dough if you're doing those recipes. So the dough is first, and we're going to cut the time to about 15 minutes for the pastry dough. And for the cheese soup, we're not going to wait an hour. I just want you to make sure that the bread is thoroughly soaked with milk, and then you can just continue with the recipe. Just for time's sake.
Okay.
So 2 per person, or 2 people per recipe, but the red cabbage has the 2 recipes. So who would like to do those? I will leave it up to you.
Do you want to do the red? I'd like to do that. I think that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
I did soup last time, so I thought, that would be kind of cool.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So then you want to start with the pastry dough.
You betcha.
And then we have the soup.
And we double it, right?
Yes.
Double.
Always 2 of each recipe. Okay. Any last minute questions? When you get into the kitchen, make sure to wash your hands. No double dipping. If you're ever standing around not doing anything, feel free to start cleaning. We only have the kitchen until 9. I think that's it from me. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay.
Good.
Come on, hot man.
Good.
And we make double the amount.
Yes.
Okay.
So are there enough ingredients here for everybody to do everything?
Yes.
Wow.
Should be. Yeah.
Look,
Sometimes.
real butter.
Yes.
You guys are all pros. You've done this before. So first, I'll head over to the dessert station. Right, you're the banana gang.
Let's see what the cool thing is. We'll see. 175.
Oh, it doesn't require a crust.
No.
Oh,
And so this one's good for me because I require gluten-free. So
right.
25. So maybe.
Oh, I'm thinking so. Ask her if that's okay. Well, no, because it says 4 bananas.
Let's cut it.
So 4 bananas. Yeah, 4. Oh, that's because you do 3 bananas on the bottom, and I bet you put some more banana on the top, is what I'm guessing. Yep, peel the remaining banana, cut it, place it on the casserole 5 minutes before they get baking time. Yeah, so there's 3 on the bottom and
175, it says 2 cups. So this is
175. We're all very friendly.
175 is 1 cup. So it should just cover up a little bit.
So now everybody's gathering their ingredients. And now a visit to the tart station.
I had it out.
Well, yeah.
24 hours.
I'm sure. And it does take a long time for butter to soften, I find.
Yeah, it does.
No, I don't think so. I'd go the short way because then we can.
Now, did you say you're allergic to cabbage?
Yes, I am. Red cabbage.
Wow.
I'm not sure why, but I feel like I'm a bad German because I'm allergic to red cabbage. But I'm sure it's tasty.
I love red cabbage. So you won't be tasting theirs.
Oh, yeah, so we gotta, yes. It's gonna be this whole thing.
Look at those knife skills, fingers in and everything.
And practicing.
Now it's time to check in with the soup.
Sounds great to me.
Is the soup ready?
That's exactly.
Not quite. Give us another 2 minutes and
Okay, you've not even
check
yet
back
begun.
at that time.
You have to soak that bread?
Yeah.
Okay, at this point, the tart team are beginning to whip up the butter. So there's going to be one big theme that goes on for quite a while now, and that is the sound of a mixer. But hey, it's a kitchen, so that's what you get.
I'm gonna go over here, I think that's it. Okay.
How are you able to do that and not let it fly everywhere? Every time I do, it flies everywhere. Even on low speed, I find. Yeah. But it's still pretty cold, huh? The whipping of the butter. Okay, you get the idea, and the blender will make another appearance, I'm sure. So from now on, I will leave you to listen to the fun and frolicking that is our German cooking evening, and I think you'll get a pretty good idea of which team I'm talking to. And believe me, the smells are amazing. Oh, so this is when you have to soak the bread for the soup.
It's pretty stale bread, too.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a stale, hard baguette. Is it supposed to be stale?
I think so. It says,
Call it dough, and I'm like.
it says baguette from the day, so it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's supposed to be.
Right. Well, there's always a chainsaw.
This,
I missed this knife all summer, and I finally found it. It was in my bag here from cooking class in spring.
Did you say you've missed the knife all summer?
Yes, yes,
it good, eh?
I couldn't find it. And so I have 2 of these. I was missing this one.
What she was
Right.
saying.
We used it at a cooking class in April.
Yeah.
She was wondering if it's.
I packed it into my bag where I keep all of my stuff for the cooking classes.
Yeah.
Today when I put my bag on the bench, I look, there's my knife.
Wow. Yeah, there's nothing like a good knife. I cook a lot, so I'm used to these sorts of things. I've yet to cream butter successfully.
Well, I guess it helps if you have the right attachment.
I have been known to put it in the microwave quickly
Usually
to soften it up.
I probably would have done that.
Don't tell the head chef.
There we go. Now let's see if that works better. But you might want this one.
Does the lemon juice on the bananas help them from turning brown?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah,
It just says peel and slice, layer them, drizzle with the juice of half a lemon.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
because I do that with apple slices.
Yes, yes. You're right, Alec. That would bring out the sweetness as well.
So now it's
100 grams is
Our own for now.
do we mix it with the beater?
Look at those finely diced onions. That's a professional job.
Taken many cooking classes to learn this.
That's well done. Well, it is an art.
Just roll your lemon really, really well, and then poke a hole in the end, and then you can just squeeze
It's
it out.
true. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Oh, I haven't. Oh,
Yeah,
goodness.
it definitely rolls them. It definitely loosens things up.
Yeah.
I've also seen where if you cut it in half and just squeeze it over your hand, I think that was a Julia Child trick or something, and then all the seeds just fall in your hand, and you just sort of separate your fingers a bit to let the juice drizzle down.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I always seem to lose a few seeds when I do that. I don't know.
Well, I just know that you don't do it when you have a paper cut. Bananas basically stay the same price, 69 cents, 79 cents a pound.
All the time.
Yeah,
Though
pretty
they fly
much.
here from wherever. Exactly. And when you travel elsewhere, there are different kinds of bananas. We were in the Caribbean 2 winters ago.
Yeah.
I've never seen bananas in that variety.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Great big ones, tiny ones, different colors.
Hey, it's Kevin. I hope you're enjoying the episode. We'll get right back to it. In the meantime, I have a favor to ask you. Listen, I know you're downloading the series. I see the numbers every week, so I know you're out there. But there's another way you can help let me know you're out there, and that is by leaving a review and star rating in the podcasting app that you use to download the series. Every app has one. I know in the iTunes store, it's pretty clear. Write a review, leave a star rating. It's right there. Same thing with the Google Play Store. So it's pretty clear. But listen, here's why I ask this of you. Not only does it help boost the series in the rankings of the big world of podcasting out there, but also it lets more people know about the podcast. And the more people know about it, the more people download it. And the more people download it, the more people hear about Saskatchewan, our people, our history, our culture, our stories, and after all, isn't that what the series is all about? Yes, it is. So head on over to your podcasting app, find the review section, and let me know how you feel about the series. Go ahead, be honest, tell me what you like, tell me what you'd like to see changed. I'm open to any suggestions, but really it will help a lot. All right, that's the end of my commercial. Now let's get back to the episode. Not the right measure?
No.
See, I'm bad. I just go the closest one and then just sort of half fill it up or whatever you need. Which is technically not what you're supposed to do with baking. Again, I don't know.
Close to nothing.
I've never used one of these before. I don't
wash them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have it in a machine where it's kind of all standalone.
Oh, the dough hook works much better.
Hey, would you like some more?
Sure.
Put her in.
Is this when you're supposed to make it like small peas? No? It's just going to come all together.
It's gonna be a big ball. You have to put a big ball,
Right.
and then I think it goes in the bottom of
Oh, it's got to rise a little bit?
No, we have to put it in the fridge.
Oh, chilled. Yeah, it's easier to roll when it's chilled, I think.
Yeah.
And then you may pour this
Oh, the cheese. The hardest part is getting into the package.
I've never heard this kind of cheese before. So.
I'm just letting you know I'm behind you.
Stop kind of working. Okay.
It's like Top Chef Canada without the pressure.
Yes. No pressure.
It isn't?
What's that?
It isn't Top Chef Canada?
No. Oh, sorry. Did you think this was? You're in the wrong place.
You're done with this recipe.
Best utensil in the kitchen, your hands, yeah?
Yes.
Impressive garlic pieces, minced.
Or garlic is.
It's better than those garlic presses. I don't like. Half of it gets stuck in there. Oh, is there anything better than the smell of garlic?
Oh, especially on your fingers the next day.
Yeah.
So my mom's first language was Ukrainian. And she had an English recipe book. And so when she was, 8, 10 years old, she was a pretty accomplished baker by then, right?
Yeah.
But there was this recipe for angel food cake. And she tried it and tried it and tried it, and it would come out of the oven and it would look beautiful.
Yeah.
And then it would fall.
Yeah.
And it would come out of the oven and it would look beautiful, and then it would fall. And that's because she didn't have an English-Ukrainian dictionary. She didn't understand what the word invert meant. Because of course, when you pull an angel food out of the oven, you gotta flip that sucker upside down.
Yeah.
And every time I make an angel food cake, and so every time I separate eggs, I think of my mom.
Oh, that's a nice story.
That is what it is.
Invert. I've never made an angel food cake before.
Oh, they're the easiest thing in the world.
Really?
Because, I have to have gluten-free, and so I have to make my own.
Yeah.
And they're actually...
Basically egg white, powdered sugar. Is it powdered sugar?
A little little bit of flour,
Flour,
absolutely.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Okay.
They taste much better homemade than from the store.
Angel food cake.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And do you know, when it comes to like meringue and when you buy lemon meringue pies, that's actually not with egg white.
Oh, it's not.
No, because it has a stabilizer in it. It's a powder. You can buy it at Bulk Barn.
No.
It's an egg white powder, and it's got all kinds of other stuff in it to keep it from, because you know the perennial problem of the egg white shrinks
Yes.
from the surface, and
Yes.
it starts moving, and then you get this huge edge. Yeah, so that's why they do it. It's a lot of chemicals. It's really quite gross when you see what's in it.
That's why I like making stuff from scratch, because
Yeah.
you know what's in it.
Yeah.
You can control what you put into the recipe. Sometimes a lot better that way.
Absolutely.
How's everybody doing? Yes? Yeah? Okay?
You thought that you wanted me to make a little bit more of the custard.
Yes.
Great, so just double the Greek yogurt. Do you want me to throw in another egg each?
Well, it's looking like dough. Is it really hard to knead?
Yeah, I'm just getting a little bit more butter because
Yeah.
I think we need just a little bit more butter to
Soften it a little
to
bit.
stick together as a dough.
Oh, right.
Or that's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. No, it looks like it needs a little more liquid.
Yeah. It's more like a shortbread dough.
Boy,
Awesome. Thank you.
your arms are going to do good workout.
Ah, hey, I'll get muscles.
Yeah. Baking muscles. Did that butter get introduced to the microwave?
Yes, it did.
30 grams of butter.
30 grams? Oh, right. You've got a scale. Smart. See, I'd be terrible and just guess what 30 grams looks like.
But you're doubling the recipe, so you need 60 grams.
Right.
Thank you.
Butter, onion, garlic. How bad can that be?
Is this the whole thing? Or do I have to double it? Here.
Do I flatten it, or?
You can. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Is that icing sugar?
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Right.
tap it until it's, even one more tap. Good, one more tap.
Figuring out the powdered sugar, girl. Last. I'm tired.
Okay, you get to do the whole thing.
That's exactly what I wanted to do.
That's why I turned around and laughed at Elric, because I'm like, oh, that's exactly what he said. And of course, it says 1 packet of vanilla sugar, but we know that you probably have your super amazing.
Packets this time.
Oh, you have to strain it?
I am.
It smells so good. I love that stuff.
You?
So good. I prefer it better than regular cabbage.
Okay. Do you still have your thing there? Here.
It smells good in here. Now what?
It does smell good.
You're just waiting.
Gotta wait for some heat.
Right. Oh, that's gonna smell good when it's simmering. Crank her up.
Crank it up, get some fire going under here. There, that's better.
You do a lot of
Smell
it.
the onions and the garlic.
Yep, it's the best smell. Do you do a lot of cook? Do you do all the cooking at home?
I do. If I didn't cook, I wouldn't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's that. I find it very relaxing.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed cooking.
Except I hate it when people are hanging around in the kitchen with me when I'm cooking.
Well, what are you doing with us all here?
Which is rather ironic. No, I know, but like if anybody walks in the room while I'm in the kitchen doing something, I'll just sit down and stop and wait for them to leave. It's a meditative experience for me personally, cooking, and I don't like someone coming in and saying, you know, if you did this, it would work better.
So the number one TED Talk of all time is this Brit guy named Sir Ken Robinson.
Yeah.
And he talked about the difference between men and women in part of his TED Talk. And he talked about how his wife could be in the kitchen cooking supper, talking on the phone to, do something. And stirring something over here and painting the wall over there and doing all kinds of things. But when he's in the kitchen, heaven forbid someone should ever come in because they're like, I'm frying an egg in here. Would you please leave?
Yeah.
So that sounds more like you.
Yeah, totally. Nothing makes me happier than an empty house and a free kitchen. And I must clean as I go along. I have to clean while I'm going along as I'm cooking. I can't get it all ready
I do too.
and then come in 2 hours later and the kitchen is covered in dirty dishes. Can't stand it. Then you're stuck standing there for hours doing dishes.
Go for it. Yeah. I haven't done
Oh, that's better.
It's smelling better now.
Wonderful. Now you're supposed to do it until the onions are translucent.
Yes.
How are your eyes?
Just a sad
Don't cry.
just
You're
having
doing
a
really
sad
well.
moment.
You're doing
Just
well.
having a sad moment.
I've tried every trick in the book. They say hold your mouth open while you're doing it. Nothing works.
Usually not, but
Nothing works. Just part of the cooking experience.
Yeah. I'm going to do the egg whites first and then I'll do this.
Do you have to put cream of tartar in egg whites?
You can, you don't
Always?
have to.
You don't?
I don't usually.
Don't you? Uh-huh.
Yeah, you don't have to. Just want to add the vanilla sugar. You add the vanilla sugar to that. And I'll beat the egg whites. Good?
Mix.
That's a lot of icing sugar and then vanilla sugar on top.
German recipes like using their vanilla sugar.
Do they?
Yes, yeah,
Do they usually make it on their own with a vanilla pod? Yeah.
yeah.
I'm interested to see how the egg whites whip because I always thought you had to do them in something metal, not plastic.
I like using glass. That's what my
Oh, is
Oma.
that glass?
I think it's glass.
Oh, it looks plastic to me. Is that glass? Is that glass?
Is what glass this?
Yeah.
No, it's plastic.
Oh, and it's whipping. Well, now you got me thinking about quark cheese again.
Oh, so what do you guys use?
Well, I think I've used, it's been a long time since I've used it, but you can use it in cheesecake.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
what
it works really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
you helping your fellow team
Yeah,
by washing up jars?
that's what we do when we have a downtime.
We wash dishes.
We wash dishes.
Good Lord.
Just watch your fingers.
Yeah, I'm watching.
I think they're trying to make it like a flour sack
Yeah.
sort of idea.
Stand back from the 27-year-old.
Okay, so the hardest part of dish, opening flour bag.
Is it working for you already?
No.
I could just cut.
No, hang on. It's got to be something better. Here, can I borrow that?
Give me a way to open this clean.
Can I actually?
Scissors. Anybody scissors?
Yes.
Look at that.
You just needed to open it from the right spot. That was all.
Number two. Okay. So this is where we
It's a little bit less than a cup, right?
So, did you want me to put all 8 tablespoons in, or just?
Oh, no, what's on the side there?
What do you figure?
All 8.
All 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
200. There we go.
There's 200. I also make the flour from Germany. Because when you go grocery shopping in Germany, you have an entire aisle of flour.
A flour, different kinds of flours?
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? Is this? Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome.
Francisca, do you remember the first thing you ever made?
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
It would
so-
probably have to be Christmas cookies with my Oma in Germany.
To the,
And I have fond memories of those Christmas
The
cookies.
Linzer tort cookies with the
Yes.
jam in the middle?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah.
And it probably goes back to making them with my grandma in Germany.
so I won't do it quite
So,
Nice.
yeah,
but I won't do it.
I have a lot of food memories or memories that are associated with food.
Is that a custard?
Pardon?
Is that a custard?
No, it's just egg and cream. And then you pour it over the red cabbage, but we have to roll out the tart.
Oh, that red cabbage smells so good. Insert spoon and eat.
I think the broth is salted, so you might want to. We need to.
I feel like this is cool.
I think that was probably good for everybody.
Did your bread soften enough? Well, it'll continue to soften while you
It was soft, yes.
Oh, I think wonderful. That's what you call a hearty soup.
Well, I feel like that's what the recipe said to put the sunflower.
Oh, you put the cheese in already?
Cheese in there and
We threw it up the side.
bread, the onions, the garlic. Put some parsley in.
Yeah.
Salt we're debating because there's a lot of salt in the broth.
Oh, what did you use for broth? Was it pre-made broth?
No, a mix.
Oh, right, the Nor stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And what is your heritage? What kind of cooking showed up in your household?
My mom is Jewish. My dad is Irish Catholic. So mostly a lot of, well, really a mix of Jewish and Irish cooking, really. But there's a lot of overlap between Jewish cooking and Ukrainian cooking and German cooking. There's a lot of the same things that are just have a different name.
Yeah.
Do any of you have German heritage besides Franziska? You do?
I don't know.
Oh. Yeah? Oh, right. No.
Ukrainian.
Well, so very similar
Yes.
cuisine, yeah.
Probably, yeah, I'm Russian German.
Oh, right. I've done a podcast on Germans living in Saskatchewan from Russia. That whole migration that happened.
Son, I think we'll just
That's
pour.
why I'm using this spatula to get it out. And then I will grab the.
Is that going to get baked?
It is.
Look at that.
I'm just trying to divide it evenly. Oh, look at you. Thank you.
Was it easy to roll after being in the fridge?
It's not too bad, but it doesn't help when I don't have flour underneath.
Well, yeah.
Now it's way better. It's not sticking.
That's feta? Feta and red cabbage? You're killing me. Any of you grow up on farms?
I did.
Did you?
I still farm.
Do you?
My husband and I have a farm now.
So do we.
Yeah.
What do you farm? What do you have? Do you have animals?
There are 75 cows still at the farm. My husband
wow.
and I farm with his two brothers and his dad. And so yes, we were chasing cows this past weekend.
So.
But they're beef cows, not milk.
Oh, right.
And but we're primarily a grain farm, so grain, oil seeds, and pulses.
Right.
Okay, son, I think.
I can't eat anything that I've seen alive.
She did everything.
Anything else that we need to do? Right, because we put the other 2 bananas on
After, in the last 5
in the last 5 minutes.
Your turn.
Oh, that dough came out really well.
Yes, it is.
That's sitting in there really nicely. The cracks, they always happen. No, they happen all the time.
My grandparents on my dad's side, my grandfather, they went to what was Bessarabia.
Okay, yeah.
And then from there, they went to Romania after that, before coming to Canada.
Oh, okay. When did they come to Canada?
1911.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Straight to here.
Straight to Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Golden Prairie area. And then they moved to Hallbright, and then the drought hit,
All the vanilla sugar.
and they moved up into southeast New Yorkton area, where there was still water. Needed water for the cattle, and So that's where they, one of the key factors, what they were looking for.
Is that the nutmeg?
Yes, we found nutmeg.
Yeah, you have to be careful with nutmeg or stuff tastes soapy. Oh, yeah. You use too much. Before I turn my recorder off, thank you for letting me get in your way. Hey, thanks for listening. Music for SaskScapes is provided by Saskatchewan-born singer-songwriter Jeffrey Straker. SaskScapes can be downloaded from iTunes, Google Play, the SaskScapes app for Android devices, and all of the other major podcasting apps. Stop by and say hi to us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter @SaskScapes. So tell me, what fuels the culture in your community? Who has a story that must be heard? Consider bringing SaskScapes to your part of the province. Email us at saskapes@gmail.com or find us on Facebook. Please share your thoughts on this episode or any of the episodes by writing a review in the iTunes Store or Google Play. Your star ratings help our audience grow. Remember, our stories are our legacy. Now, somewhere around the world for years to come, stories like those found in SaskScapes are being heard. Think about it. We're creating an oral archive so that who we are in this province is never forgotten. I'm Kevin Power. Join me again next time.